I am in shock. The Indiana Fever just beat the Aces.
Las Vegas Aces has fallen to the Indiana Fever.
Indiana Fever beat down the Las Vegas Aces.
The Indiana Fever was flat out dominant today.
It finally happened. The Indiana Fever just humiliated the Las Vegas Aces.
The only player you can't blame for the Aces was Aja Wilson. She was fine. She was good.
And Aja Wilson couldn't stop it.
The Indiana Fever blow out the Las Vegas Aces by nearly 30 points. They win by a final score of 81-54.
A 30-point beatdown that left fans stunned, and the scoreboard didn't lie. 81-54.
Becky Hammond pulled the plug halfway, like 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. She pulled the plug so early. Like Kirsten Bell was in the game with 6 minutes to go.
Becky Hammond had to pull the starters early, and even she knew it was over.
That's for voting Caitlin Clark ninth as the ninth best guard in the league.
They said Caitlin Clark was overrated. They ranked her 9th.
That's for Caitlin Clark. That's for the fans. That's for the fans again. That's for thinking you was gonna come to Indiana and win today. That's for the 16 times you beat us before. That's for the game we blew in Vegas.
But this game, this was for her. This was revenge.
Beat them bad. Bro, 54-81, damn near by 30, bro. And they made it look easy. This is the second big-time win for this ball club.
No mercy, no excuses. The Aces got crushed.
All the non-Caitlin Clark games, this was the game I felt the best about this team.
And now the entire league is watching.
The Indiana Fever put belt to ass on the Las Vegas Aces.
This wasn't just a win. This was a message. The Indiana Fever didn't squeak by the Las Vegas Aces. They brutally destroyed them.
The Indiana Fever have won. They won by a gazillion points, 81-54 over the feared Las Vegas Aces.
81-54 in a beatdown so lopsided it felt personal.
That's for thinking you was gonna come to Indiana and win today. That's for the 16 times you beat us before.
The same Aces team that had defeated Indiana 16 straight times walked into Gainbridge Fieldhouse thinking it would be business as usual.
What a game, what a game. The Indiana Fever was flat out dominant today. From start to finish, it was dominance. Beat down. That's you Uncle Willie's son. Yeah, that's what it was today.
Instead, they got exposed, humiliated, and sent home wondering what just hit them. From the opening tip, it was clear the Fever came to dominate. And dominate they did.
Attacking everything. Pressure on ball, pressure off ball.
Not for one quarter, not for a half, but from start to finish. It was an all-out belt-to-ass performance, as one creator perfectly put it. And it showed that Indiana isn't just trying to compete anymore. They're here to take over.
Just for them to hold the Las Vegas Aces to just 26% shooting, that speaks volumes, bro. A defensive just masterpiece.
The Fever's defensive intensity was on another level. This wasn't a game where Vegas just missed shots. Indiana smothered them. Las Vegas was held to just 26% shooting and only managed 54 total points. That's the fewest they've scored all season. Aces players like Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray were straight-up non-factors.
The point guard god is Chelsea Gray and silent of a Saxon. Jackie Young, stop making up issues with the Aces. Yeah, man, people better keep that same damn energy.
Chelsea Gray's been awful this season. She's been awful too. She had 2 points, 3 rebounds to it. She stunk.
Gray, allegedly one of the best point guards in the league, finished with just 2 points.
Jackie Young could do nothing today.
Jackie Young, 6. And they didn't just miss, they looked shook. They looked like a team that didn't even want to be on the court.
I have never seen Becky Hammond, like, she pulled the plug so early. People saying in my shirt I predicted a win. You can watch the start of this stream.
Becky Hammond saw it too. The Aces head coach pulled her starters with over 6 minutes still left in the game. Not to rest them, to surrender. That's not load management. That's waving the white flag.
After the first quarter, this game was not close, never was close, never got close. Kelsey Mitchell doing work in the third quarter. Aaliyah Boston saying, hey, Alyssa Smith, come get this work real quick in the post. Remember all those times in practice? Yeah, well, now it's game time.
On the flip side, Indiana looked like a team that had found its identity. And that identity is gritty, fast, unselfish basketball. Kelsey Mitchell was unstoppable, torching the Aces with 25 points on 9 of 18 shooting, including 4 of 6 from deep.
Kelsey Mitchell with 25 points, plus 19, 9 of 18 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. Kelsey Mitchell missed like 3 open layups. Kelsey Mitchell could have had 31.
Every time Vegas tried to make a run, Mitchell responded with a bucket that killed their momentum.
Aaliyah Boston there with 20 points in 23 minutes. 7 boards. She was killing Aja. Like, Aaliyah was better than Aja Wilson. Regardless of what you want to say about the box score, Aaliyah was better.
Aaliyah Boston, meanwhile, was a force inside, out-muscling Aja Wilson and finishing with 20 points and 7 rebounds in just 23 minutes. It wasn't just the stars either. Michaela Timpson came in off the bench like a defensive maniac, swatting shots and causing chaos. Lexi Hall, Natasha Howard, and Sophie Cunningham all did the dirty work, switching, helping, fighting for boards. This team played with heart. They played like they had something to prove.
Stephanie White, Coach White, picked up a technical foul, and Caitlin Clark certainly approved of that. Look, she's pissed. And Caitlin's like, yeah, coach, there you go. Crash out for me. Let's do it. And look, that's a coach and a star player who have each other's respect, who are fond of one another. Again, that bodes well for the future. All this stuff bodes well for the future. This is a team that is coming together, which is scary for the rest of the league.
And let's not forget the woman behind the scenes, head coach Stephanie White. For most of the season, critics hammered her for rotations, game management, and second-half collapses. Not this time.
What Stephanie White was able to do. And she stepped up and showed out for the refs, bro. She wasn't going for none of that back and forth that we have been seeing. I'm telling you right now, bro, this is just super. I'm just ecstatic, man.
Stephanie White had this team ready from the jump. And when the refs started giving the Aces some questionable whistles in the third quarter, she let them hear it. She picked up a technical foul. And you know who was the first to jump up and clap? Caitlin Clark. Sitting on the bench in street clothes, Clark was fired up watching her coach finally stand up and match the fire the players were bringing on the court.
Indiana Fever beat down the Las Vegas Aces.
This wasn't just a victory on the scoreboard. This was a cultural win. It was the kind of game that says, we're done being underdogs. Indiana didn't beat Vegas. They dismantled them. The Aces didn't just lose. They looked broken, frustrated, and outclassed. The Fever played like a team that's starting to believe in itself. And more importantly, starting to believe it can beat anyone. And they did it without Caitlin Clark even stepping on the court. Which begs the question, what happens when she's back? That's what we're getting into next.
Caitlin Clark is static throughout the whole damn game. Now, Stephanie White did receive a technical foul, but I'm telling you right now, she was so damn happy when she got that technical foul. Caitlin Clark got up and clapped her hands. Bro, she was super ecstatic.
Even though Caitlin Clark didn't log a single minute in this game, her influence was everywhere. You could feel it in the building. You could see it in the energy. And you could hear it in the reaction when the Fever dismantled the defending champs. Sitting courtside in street clothes, Caitlin wasn't just spectating. She was living the game, coaching up teammates, reacting to every bucket, and even jumping up to clap when Coach Stephanie White went after the refs and picked up a technical. That moment said it all.
Attacking everything. Pressure on ball, pressure off ball. Diving for loose balls. It wasn't only Lexi Hall getting on the floor. Ari McDonald got on the floor. Michaela Timpson was all over the place with her go-go gadget arms. Yes.
There's a reason this team looks different now. They've finally found their identity. And when Caitlin returns, she's stepping back into a unit that's not just better, it's battle-tested and ready to dominate.
Caitlin Clark coming back, and just for them to hold the Las Vegas Aces to just 26% shooting, that speaks volumes, bro. A defensive just masterpiece.
Let's not forget, Caitlin Clark is leading the WNBA in assists. Not top 5, not top 3, number 1. That's while facing double teams, full court pressure, and getting hacked on every drive with little to no whistles. Still, she's been dishing out 9+ assists per game, setting the table for her teammates night after night.
There was nobody else who could set the table like that. There was nobody else who could get downhill like Aari McDonald can get downhill. And there was nobody else who can play make like Aari McDonald can play make. Those are big differences for the Fever. It's going to be fascinating to see what Stephanie White does once Caitlin Clark comes back with the minutes.
And now with the emergence of Aari McDonald, who's brought speed, tenacity, and elite playmaking, the Fever have options. They don't need Caitlin to bring the ball up and get mauled every possession anymore. Aari's presence means Caitlin can finally do what she does best.
And the distribution there, because you're undersized when it comes to Aari and Kelsey together, and you know, Caitlin's a pretty big guard, but they're so fast that it's tough. They're so tough to guard that it's tough to not put them all out on the floor together.
Move without the ball, come off screens, get clean looks, and light it up from the logo without the entire weight of the offense on her back. And let's be real.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin Clark was never the problem. She's been the engine all season. The problem was the car wasn't tuned yet.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
The rotations were off, the defensive effort was shaky, and too many players were still figuring out their roles. But now, after a few key lineup changes and some serious coaching adjustments, the Fever are hooping. Players are cutting harder, defending with energy, and spacing the floor like professionals.
And what's crazy about all of this, they're beating ass and they ain't even got Caitlin Clark. So imagine when Caitlin Clark get implemented back into this lineup. I told y'all, they was going to go on a 5 to 6 game win streak, bro.
So now when Caitlin returns, she's stepping into a team, not just a collection of names on jerseys. That changes everything. What's wild is how quickly the narrative flipped. When the Fever started winning without Caitlin on the floor, the haters came crawling out of their holes saying,
crazy. Like, it was crazy what the Indiana Fever did. And a lot of people are like, they're better without Caitlin Clark. Lads, the Indiana Fever lost to the Connecticut Sun, the Washington Mystics, and the LA Sparks. The Indiana Fever have not lost. Actually, I was about to say to a sub 500 team. The Aces are now sub 500. The Fever have lost to one sub 500 team. I mean this when I say this. The Aces, or the Fever, outside of the Commissioner's Cup, without Caitlin Clark, have not beaten a plus 500 team. They haven't.
See? They're better without her. But if you actually watch the games, that couldn't be more wrong. This team is better because of her, because of the attention she draws, the confidence she's brought, and the leadership she shows even while sidelined.
The Aces with Caitlin Clark have beaten the Storm, Dream, and Liberty. So I don't want to hear the Fever are better. Did I say Ace? The Fever. The Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. But what I do want to hear is the Fever are a damn good team are becoming a damn good team without Caitlin Clark. Their defense is improving. Their hustle is improving.
Let's not forget, this same team only beat top-tier playoff contenders like the Liberty, Storm, and Dream when Caitlin Clark was active and leading the charge. Without her, most of those big wins don't happen.
When Caitlin comes back to this team, like, they are now in a situation where they can beat anybody without Caitlin Clark. They've shown they can beat anyone. And by the way, the Aces stink. The Aces stink. And do you want to know what I really enjoyed with that game? We saw it in the third quarter when the Aces made a bit of a comeback. The Fever didn't change how they were playing. They were just missing shots.
So the idea that she's holding the team back is not just wrong. It's disrespectful to what she's done for Indiana basketball in just half a season.
They did not change how they were playing. And that is one of the most important things. That is the most important things. Like, being an adaptable coach is a big thing. And it's clear, Stephanie White, we are trying to win by 30 instead of holding on to a lead. We don't care. KK, you're playing now. Bree Turner, you're not.
Let's talk about the Las Vegas Aces, or what's left of them after Indiana was done. Because make no mistake, what the Fever did to this so-called super team wasn't just a win. It was a full-on dismantling, a complete collapse. And right at the center of it all, Aja Wilson. Now sure, the box score says she had 29 points, but anyone who actually watched the game knows what really happened.
Of her 13 free throws, I'm not joking, I think she was fouled once. And that foul was not even given as a shooting foul. It was not even a shooting foul. Like, she kind of bumped into Aaliyah Boston on a jump stop and then landed and then shot a fadeaway jump shot with Aaliyah nowhere near her. And because of the foul and the bump, somehow shot free throws.
Aja got gifted 13 free throws, many of them on phantom foul calls, and one analyst even said, "I think she was only actually fouled once." That's not domination. That's manipulation. Aaliyah Boston outplayed her physically, mentally, and emotionally, and did it with far less help from the refs. When it came to real basketball, not whistle-aided stat padding, Aaliyah was the one controlling the paint. And while Aja was busy chasing numbers, the rest of the aces fell apart.
AKA point fraud. And remember, this is probably who the WNBA player said was also better than Caitlin Clark. They said I'm pretty confident they said she was better than Caitlin Clark.
Chelsea Gray, the player some in the league claimed was better than Caitlin Clark, had a grand total of 2 points. 2. Jackie Young, who's supposed to be one of the most versatile guards in the W, managed just 6 points while getting clamped by Lexi Hull and Ari McDonald. And let's not forget Jewel Lloyd, who was labeled one of the worst starters in the league in multiple transcripts.
We got point guard with more turnovers than points and assists combined. More turnovers than points and assists combined. We got point guard.
The Aces' backcourt was supposed to be elite, but on this night, they were flat out exposed. No ball movement, no chemistry, no urgency. It looked like the Aces were playing for stats, while the Fever were playing for pride. Even their coaching staff folded. Becky Hammon, once praised as one of the best minds in the league, looked absolutely helpless.
She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She pulled her starters with over 6 minutes left in the fourth, a move that screamed defeat. It wasn't strategy, it was surrender. And it showed that even she couldn't find answers for the energy, speed, and aggression Indiana brought from the opening tip.
And that is the scariest thing. The Fever had been, when they were losing those leads, they were changing how they were playing. The Fever did not change how they were playing.
On both ends of the court, the Aces got outworked, out-hustled, out-coached, outclassed. But here's the part that hits hardest. This wasn't some lucky night or miracle shooting performance. The Fever missed open layups, had dry spells offensively, and still beat Vegas by nearly 30. Because what they brought was heart, defense, grit. And when you add that to talent, you get blowouts like this. And for Aja Wilson, who's been treated like untouchable royalty in the league, this was a wake-up call. Yes, she's a great player, but for too long, she's been protected by whistles and surrounded by stacked rosters.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
What happens when someone like Aaliyah Boston takes the fight straight to her with no fear? What happens when the other team refuses to be bullied? We saw the answer. She folds. The Aces didn't just lose, they were dominated by a Caitlin-less Indiana team. And if this is how bad they looked without Caitlin on the floor, imagine what happens when she comes back.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
One transcript nailed it. They're not just better with Caitlin, they're lethal. And as for Aja,
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball.
After this beatdown, she might not be crying on camera, but the fear in that locker room is real. The Aces have been put on notice. Indiana just exposed the truth, and they did it for Caitlin Clark.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
So now the question isn't if the Indiana Fever are for real. It's how far they can go with Caitlin Clark back in the mix. Because if they can embarrass the defending champs like this without her, just imagine what's coming next. Aja Wilson and the Aces just got exposed on national TV.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
And this wasn't luck. This was a warning. Caitlin Clark isn't just coming back. She's coming back to a team that's clicking, confident, and ready to dominate.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The chemistry is there. The defense is locked in. The league should be nervous. Because if the Fever look this dangerous without the GOAT, what happens when the GOAT is back on the floor? If you believe in Caitlin Clark, if you know she's him, if you know she's the face of this league, then do me a favor right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. CC 100% if you know she's the GOAT. Let the haters talk. We'll let the scoreboard do the talking. Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark. We're just getting started.